Alright, let's take a look at Lotus Field and Thespian Stage today. A pair made in heaven, and probably the best thing that we can be doing with Thespian Stage in our arena client. So, basically the idea with Lotus Field is you get a bunch of colored pips, and you smash them into one deck, and you hope that you're able to use effects like your Stifles and your discontinuities in order to make your Lotus Field sacrifice trigger never resolve on your turn. That's more or less it. What we can do once we have a bunch of mana through 1 to 2 Lotus Fields is we can use things like Pour Over the Pages, a 5 mana sorcery spell to draw 3, untap 2, and then discard. And so what this ends up being is draw 3, discard 1, and then go up 1 mana, assuming that you have 2 Lotus Fields. So that's pretty solid. That'll kind of help us get some velocity through the deck. We're running 2 Up the Beanstalks as kind of a little addition that I've added in here to test things out. I think that it gives us just like a little bit more game once we kind of get to the point where we're casting our Pour Over the Pages. But I'm not like really sold either which way on this, so I'd recommend trying it out for yourself and letting me know what you think. So the main plan in this game, once we're drawing with Pour Over the Pages, is to eventually get to our Emergent Ultimatum. Basically, we're going to use this and try to cast it, finding Omniscience, Chandra Hope's Beacon, and Lear, Disciple of the Drowned. If they give us Omniscience, we should be able to combo out from our hand. We'll have things like Pour Over the Pages. We'll have things like Sublime Epiphany to draw cards. We have Impulse. We have Perilous Voyage to help us scry. There's a lot of things to help us get through the deck, and once we have an Omniscience on the battlefield, I don't think that we should lose. So generally the correct play for our opponent is to not give us Omniscience and instead give us one of our other spells. And the 2 that we're going for is Chandra Hope's Beacon, and she's going to be our main way of closing out a game. And then Lear is going to help kind of both help us kill with Chandra, and then also Lear helps us just get general value out of our cards. So the idea here is once we get our Emergent Ultimatum, and let's say our opponent just takes the Omniscience, so that means we get to cast Chandra and Lear. What we can do is we can play Chandra, -5 her, and then we can do this pretty interesting thing where we use Bala Ged Recovery, 4 of our lands here, and we use that to re-pick up our Chandra and then cast her on our next turn or something like that. If we have enough Lotus Fields, we can just do it right then and there and get moving. And then obviously this will also work if they give us Omniscience. So yeah, we want to Chandra -5, deal 5 to the face, maybe kill a creature or something like that, and then get it back with Bala Ged Recovery. That'll allow us to do basically at most 4 recoveries of Chandra for a total of 25 damage. And because we'll have Lear on the battlefield, we can even reuse these Bala Ged Recoveries from the graveyard as well. So basically that's like 50 damage. We should be able to kill most decks with that. And if that's not something that's possible, and we're not able to kill right away, we can use our Chandra to do a little bit of damage, but then we'll just have like a 3-4, and maybe, like a 1-3 here and there. We also run Torrential Gearhulk, so there is a creature beatdown plan that can help speed up that clock once we have the Chandra into play. And then, yeah, I mean, like, if they give us Omniscience, like, it's pretty trivial from there. Like, we'll just draw cards until we find our Chandra or Lear, get them onto the battlefield, and then kind of execute the same combo without any sort of mana restriction. And then the other thing that we can do here is we can work on a little combo between Torrential Gearhulk and Sublime Epiphany. Gearhulk basically allows you to recast something from the graveyard, and so you'll typically just want to do like an Emergent Ultimatum or your Sublime Epiphany. Sublime Epiphany allows us to counter a activated ability, so sometimes this will be used to counter our Lotus Field trigger. We can also bounce something. We can create another Torrential Gearhulk, or another Lear if it's being targeted by removal. And to boot, we get to draw a card. So this is something that's just kind of nice to have. It's at an instant speed spell so that we can kind of hold up whatever we want and react accordingly to what our opponent does. And there's really a lot to go here. Now, in terms of making the mana, obviously we're going to be using Lotus Field with our counter target triggered ability. With Sublime Epiphany, we have, Stifle in order to counter an activated or triggered ability. And another thing that we can do is use Discontinuity on our own turn for just 2 mana in order to end the turn right then and there. So that is going to be one of the initial plays that we want to make in order to get a bunch of mana. A very good turn 2 Lotus Field looks like you play 1 mana, you play a second mana, and then on turn... Sorry, it's turn 3. Then on turn 3, you drop your Lotus Field, floating your mana from your other lands, and then use that to cast Discontinuity. So, pretty solid way to get a bunch of mana there, and then if you just have your 4th land after that, well, you have 6 mana, so you're chilling. Once we get our Lotus Field out, we're going to prioritize trying to get some Thespian stages out so that we can do some copying, and assuming that our opponent can't deal with our lands, which, you know, you're running a hexproof land, so it's probably not going to be dealt with, we should just be able to outvalue our opponents with all the mana that we can create each turn. Oh, I forgot to talk about Vizier of Tumbling Sands. This is one of our other ways of getting extra mana out of Lotus Field. So, 2 things can happen. We can use Vizier of Tumbling Sands as a cast, and then basically every turn we can just untap our Lotus Field, essentially getting double out of it. We can also use Vizier for its cycling ability, which gives us a one-time tap or untap of a target permanent, which for us is generally going to be Lotus Field. And then, like I mentioned at the beginning of the deck tech, Pour Over the Pages is essentially a 1-mana ramp, or it's a net 1 mana for 2 Lotus Fields that are on the battlefield. So we do like to have this card. And to boot, it can also be recasted with Leer if we need to, if we're tight on mana and we need to, you know, get our last mana or 2 for Chandra. So that's pretty much the deck here. We are mostly just blue-green. Lotus Field can and is the way that we cast Emergent Ultimatum and Chandra. So, you know, those are important to find in the hand. Hope you guys enjoy this one. This should be a fun time. We'll have some pretty flashy games, and we'll also have some games where, like, aggro just kills us. It'll be pretty fun. Before we hop into the games, if you want to support the channel, please do by liking the video and commenting on it. Let me know what you think about the deck. Did you play it? How'd you do? All that kind of stuff. And if you are new here to the channel, subscribe for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Without further ado, let's get in some games here. Let's go. Alright, it's round 1. We have a literal 2-lander. One of them is our Bala Ged Recovery that we do generally not want to play as a land, although sometimes it is worth it to play it as a land and then use Lotus Field to intentionally sacrifice it so that a Leer can still use the Bala Ged Recovery spell in the graveyard. I think this is definitely a mulligan for sure. This one's a bit better. We don't have blue mana, which is going to be a problem when we have Stifle, but we could just straight up play the Lotus Field. That's not a terrible idea. Then we can get Vizier of Tumbling Sands, and we'll be pretty close to doing what we want to do. So what I'm going to decide to do in this case is drop Impulse in favor of the acceleration of our Boreal Grazer. So this means that we will be able to get a turn 2 Lotus Field into play. Alright, there's 2 green lands. Perilous Voyage is definitely going to be nice to be able to bounce stuff. Excited for that. And, okay, so it is just going to be float all of our mana here, play a Lotus Field, and unfortunately it's just going to be sack these 2 lands. Opponent has some sort of priority here. And unfortunately we can't do anything with our 2 green, so sad. Opponent's letting us go here. We have another Lotus Field. This one's going to have to wait. So I think what we want to do is Impulse and look for either Stifle or something else to do. We do float blue here in case it is Stifle that we find. And we actually just get Discontinuity, which might actually just be a good idea. So let me take a sec and think about how this is going to work. Well, actually, now that I think about it, Pour Over the Pages could be another good one as well. If I shock Breeding Pool, I can Perilous Voyage something. They don't have anything, so I think Breeding Pool's out. Next turn... Oh, wait, I don't have the Vizier in play yet. It's in my hand. I see. Yeah, maybe if that's the case, then I just want a Discontinuity and then have 6 mana. It's a little awkward not having this Vizier out, though, unfortunately. I could shock Breeding Pool and cycle it. but that's not great either. Maybe I think I'm just going to hold on to discontinuity. I need to get this land into play somehow. Unfortunately, it's not happening this turn. We got to play a little slow here, but our opponent is definitely taking the long route here. They've shown us 3 turns of nothing. Where's off control, probably. Shieldred is pretty decent against us, not going to lie. We'll draw here. We get another Lotus field. So we'll let that happen. Let's make a bunch of blue mana here. Play Lotus field, and then probably just immediately end the turn, I believe. Unless I want a Vizier of Tumbling Sands now. So if I Vizier of Tumbling Sands, I will not have enough mana to discontinuity. It's still going to keep me pretty far away from Emergent Ultimatum. So if I discontinuity now, I'm just trying to think if I will have enough to cast Emergent Ultimatum. So on my next untap step, I'm going to float blue. Then I cycle Vizier. So basically I just need to find a land that produces blue, and I think I can still combo. So I'm going to hold on to that. We're going to hold full control here, play Lotus field, and we're going to discontinuity end the turn. Okay. They gain a little bit of life, it's fine. We're going to have to watch out for some targeted removal here. I think my Chandra might not necessarily be safe, but the way that we're using her, she will not be targetable. So they go in for 4, I take it. That's okay. No blocks. So the question is, do they have anything else to play? They do not. That sucks. Okay. So I can cycle. And then I can just probably send Shieldred back to hand. I'll do it at their end step. So let's cycle. Or should I cycle? Yeah, I think I want to cycle. I don't want to commit something to the battlefield. I think they're definitely holding up a lot of targeted removal. So Vizier of Tumbling Sands. Put that Lotus field back. And we're just looking for something that makes blue. That is actually super close. So we'll put that down. We are going to wait for any targeted removal, most likely. You know, I can just pass, and if they target Thespian Sage, I'll be able to give them a 2-for-1 situation. This is all okay. Thespian Sage is basically a Lotus field for all intents and purposes, so this is fine. Okay, so do they have a play is the question. I figured that they had something like that, sure. And will there be another play, or will this just be an attack? I'm going to send Shieldred back to hand. Do they have anything to say about that? They do not. And I still have the mana for my Thespian Sage copy, which I will do now. It looks like we get to go to our turn, so this will be an Emergent Ultimatum on the stack. We're going to find Omniscience, Lier, and Chandra. And I'm not really sure if I want to do Lier, actually, because... Oh, you know, that is fine. We have the mana. We just... The problem is there's not really too much that lets us untap. I suppose we could Impulse. Yeah, this is probably fine. It may end up being a past the turn play, but this will be okay. So it's probably correct for them to put back Omniscience, though they don't really know what I have in hand. So it's possible that they think that if they don't give me Omniscience, they immediately lose, which is generally the case with Emergent Ultimatum decks. Okay, so they take probably the smarter thing. And I will have to leverage some mana here. With this, I need to make sure that I hold full control, and I actually need to do this the opposite way. So we're going to -5 our Chandra. Want to avoid her getting exiled.
Just have to try again.
If we get them to tap out, then I'm fine to use Chandra to start to double our spells, but I just want to keep her out of harm's way pretty much. Lear might die, though, is the problem. Yeah, so she gets exiled. And that's potentially an issue for us. We're going to have to be very careful with these Balaged recoveries. Let's cycle, I guess. Well, I could cycle untapping a Lotus Field, then impulsing. But even if I do that, I'm just going to have one floating mana, unless I get another untap effect. I mean, it's worth it to try. We'll auto-pay. Untap this. Oh, I can stop holding full control. Sublime Epiphany is almost exactly what we wanted to see. So close. And then that will go to face. Then Lotus Field could come down sacking something, but I don't think we want to do that. We'll end turn. And I don't think Arboreal Grazer is the thing that I really want to be copying right now. Now Shieldred's going to make it in, unfortunately. We will send it back to hand with Sublime Epiphany. Oh no, they're actually going to get in with Cave of the Frost Dragon. Okay. That is a pretty good win condition. We actually get to Emergent Ultimatum again. That's pretty sweet. So we'll go Omniscience here. Torrential Gearhulk. And I would say probably... We don't need to Sublime Epiphany right now, so I'll take Pour Over the Pages. Should be another pretty easy choice for them. And we pretty much just have to kind of cobble together a victory here. So the name of the game basically is going to be continue to utilize our mana advantage, and then we'd ideally like to hold up a Sublime Epiphany or something like that in order to deal with the Shieldred, or maybe put the Cave of the Frost Dragon back, and they actually just give us the Omniscience. Sure. That is perfect. We'll need to hold up a counterspell most likely, because I think they plan on killing this. Get rid of the Grazer since we don't want that anymore. And Omniscience now makes everything free. So let's go ahead and drop in a Beseiju, unless I want to hold that for something. Yeah, maybe I will hold on to that. We will Pour Over the Page. We accidentally paid mana for that, but it's okay because we're untapping these lands anyway. Okay, and the opponent doesn't want to stick around to let me finish out this thought exercise. That is understandable. They pretty much knew that I had something coming. But let's take a look here and just make sure that I understand this correctly. Basically, the idea is to draw a bunch here. We eventually can hold things like Discontinuity over their head. I'd basically just set a stop in their upkeep and then cast Discontinuity, go to my turn, blah, blah, blah. And pretty much the idea is either we find our Torrential Gearhulk, play that thing, and then start to Sublime Epiphany to gain more copies of it. And then, even though Lear is gone, we still can put together enough damage between that whole plan and then naturally drawing our Galabed recoveries to get back our Chandra and deal more damage. So I think we had it there. Took us definitely a little bit to get moving, but regardless, like it's once you have enough mana, this is kind of the strength of the deck, is just holding this advantage over your opponent's head. So kind of a all over the place round one here, but we have 4 more rounds in order to iron it out. Let's hop into round 2 right now. Alright, it is round 2. Let's see what we think about this hand. Well, I think that this hand makes all green mana, and we really don't want just that. This is okay. We have double Stifle for those Lotus Fields when they do show up. We have a bit of Rampant Arboreal Grazer, but that doesn't really go that far. This is probably a mid keep, but I will keep it. We have a blocker if it really comes down to us needing that. And yeah, third Stifle, sure. Maybe we'll end up using these kind of like offensively. This Beseiju is going to have to come down, and we will drop in this Waterlogged Grove, and we'll untap with some Stifles held up next turn. I do not like seeing Speaker of the Heavens, but we are seeing it anyway. Here's Thespian Stage. At least our mana is getting up there. Probably don't want to take the draw off of my only blue source, so I will not activate Waterlogged Grove. Here's Prosperous Innkeeper, so this is probably just Scurryoak combo. Sure. I think the Stifle will be able to break that, which is nice. We're going to prevent a little bit of damage here. They will still gain their life. We got a combo before they hit 25. This is a little scary. But as long as they don't start gaining a whole lot of life, we might be able to survive. Gonna really need that Lotus Field draw or any one of our cards that can help find it. Okay, they're gonna start gaining 2. And only one of these is needed to get going. So I don't hate... Well, actually, I would have had to use this blue mana regardless. Okay, what do we find? We do find Lotus Field, so that is 100% our keep. Fortunately, can't use it this turn because of Stifle being blue. If only we had drawn one more blue color source, or if I had just used this Thespian Stage to copy Waterlogged Grove, that is probably the correct thing. Luckily, Heliod's not yet a creature. They do get to start making angels now, and it is going to be bad for me from here. Oh, and you know what? I'm not going to have enough to activate Thespian Stage next turn. Yeah, I would have had to... Okay, I'm thinking again. If my Pour Over the Pages finds another Pour Over the Pages, the line that I could take is right now float all my mana, play Lotus Field, sack these lands, and then copy Thespian Stage. Then Pour Over the Pages makes a bunch of blue mana. The second pour floats a second blue mana, and those would be my 2 pips for Emergent Ultimatum. And then when the second pour untaps my Lotus Fields, then I'm able to cast Emergent Ultimatum. And yeah, actually, they have a lot of damage on the battlefield, so that actually might be the move. So let's float blue, green, play Lotus Field, sack 1/2 lands, then activate Thespian Stage to copy Lotus Field. We're going to have to take a chump block here for this big angel. They gain a life, for sure. That thing's going to be big. They make another creature, you got it. They could have attacked in for even more life. We have a fun turn ahead of us here. So, I'd take 10, or I can block. If I were to block like this, their next turn probably still kills me, so I'll just take 10 now. I may want this Grazer down the line. Alright, so this Pour Over the Pages is going to have to hit. We actually do get a land. Does that make it work? I think if this were a blue land, it would have worked. So I'm going to still hold this down. Over the Pages. Oh, we found a blue source. Let's go. We're going to discard our green source here. And then we shock Breeding Pool, and that is enough to cast Emergent Ultimatum. I forgot that I had a land drop. That's what makes this okay. So we go Omniscience, Chandelier. Playbook is straightforward. And I think we actually need them to give us Omniscience, which they clearly won't. Oh, no, they actually put back Lier. Okay. So if there was a way we were going to win it, it is like this, because we get to Emergent Ultimatum again. Okay, so we're going to go -5. Bam, bam.
Next time, I'll burn even brighter.
I have triple free Stifle now. And we can end their turn. So we'll go Balagad Recovery. Get back our Chandra. I kind of am showing them what we needed Lier for, which is a little iffy. I think this Chandra will take out Speaker of the Heavens because them printing angels is kind of a problem. This one, unfortunately, is too big for Chandra to kill, which is not great.
Can't be the end.
Okay, they're down to 27. We'll go for Emergent Ultimatum off of our free thingamajig, and I think it's going to be Torrential Gearhulk picking that back up. We'll have to order this in such a way that Sublime Epiphany can work, and then Lier will be our other card. I guess Pour Over the Pages is another one that should have been done. Oh, actually, yeah. Okay. So we go... Oh, it actually doesn't matter the order that I do this in. Okay, so it's going to be Lier and Sublime Epiphany. Sublime Epiphany is going to create a copy of my card, return something back, and we do not care to counter a spell right now. Target player draws a card. Cool. So the non-land permanent is returned to its owner's hand. This angel is going to have to go away. We make a copy of Grazer, and we are the ones that draw. No lands, unfortunately. Let's put Perilous Voyage back to... put Heliod back to their hand. That will hopefully eat their next turn. We have Discontinuity on their turn to do what we want, so that is probably going to be a pass of the turn. We will immediately cast Discontinuity here. And their turn, move to ours. And we draw Balagad Recovery. We even have Pour Over the Pages here, so now we're getting to do what we want to do. Float some mana. Vizier of Tumbling Sands is in here. The Stifles can go away now. However, what we will do is still play Lotus Field and then use Stifle to counter that. Cool, cool. And Vizier of Tumbling Sands can be cycled in order to untap Lotus Field. Discontinuity again is great. We'll use Balagad Recovery to get back our Chandra. And we're going to work towards the kill here. Alright. -5. And we've removed their last creature here. They don't have Collected Company up, as far as I'm aware. And we can Impulse now out of the graveyard. Looking for... Pour Over the Pages would have been good, actually. That may have been a better... Oh, actually, I can cast this for free, so it's fine. Pour Over the Pages, here we go. Boom, boom. Untap, untap. We'll discard a Reading Pool, or that blue land. And then Pour Over the Pages can go from graveyard. There's a Torrential Gearhulk. Now we're looking pretty solid. We will discard another land, probably. Here's a Gearhulk. This can cast something out of our graveyard. Sublime Epiphany is the choice. So target player draws a card, create a token that's a copy, return something to their hand, and there's nothing to target. The thing to return, let's get rid of Cleric class. Creature I control will be Torrential Gearhulk, and me will be the one that draws. We get to cast something now. Again, Perilous Voyage will be solid. We'll put that to their hand. Up the Beanstalk, Thespian Stage, not necessary. And I think with this Discontinuity, we're going to have it. I think that we'll just go ahead and pass and do it on their turn. Swing in with everything. And turn, discard Thespian Stage, fine. Move to their turn, Discontinuity. Resolve. Go to our turn. Let's go ahead and move to combat here. Boom, boom, boom. Fortunately, do not have Discontinuity at the moment. They're at 6. We just need to find one more. Perilous Voyage, Impulse, Arboreal Grazer, Boseiju. We would like to Scry, but I would like to Impulse more than that. We'll go Impulse. Impulse finds Torrential Gearhulk. We will Pour Over the Pages from hand. 20 cards left in library, and there's a Discontinuity. We'll put back this Stifle, and we will go to their turn, and turn, discarding a Lotus Field, or Lair of the Hydra works too. We're in their turn, we Discontinuity. Boom, boom, and that should be lethal. Alright. Made it work. That is our combo. Pretty darn sweet. Okay, well, that is definitely what needed to happen there. Little bit of a lucky choice, not going to lie, by my opponent giving me the Omniscience. We may not have had it otherwise, but luck favored us in this match, and sometimes you just got to take that and run with it. Okay, so round 2 is in the books now. Let's hop into round 3 and try to do it again. I'd really like to get a win here off of a ultimatum where they do not give me the omniscience. That one will basically just be a slower match where we use our Lotus field advantage in order to kill them. So hopefully in these last 3 rounds we'll be able to see that happen. Let's hop in there. Alright, we're starting with a hand here that I'm not totally sure of. It's got 2 mana to get an impulse off. We can accelerate that a little bit with our Boreal Grazer. But after that, what are we doing? We can bounce something with Perilous Voyage, and then that's not even really guaranteeing that we hit our mana acceleration, though, so I'm going to mulligan this. Impulse, Impulse, it's kind of the same thing, but we have more things to cast. Looks like we're going to be taking this slow. It'll be an Impulse on turn 2 kind of play. And maybe we'll just try to hard cast Vizier of Tumbling Sands. Leyline of the Void. Is that a hard counter for me? Kind of. Let's see if we can win through this. We'll just have to get our Torrential Gearhulks out. They're just going to be 6 mana 5/6s, which is unfortunate. So sad. We will Impulse on our opponent's end step. Impulse, here we go. Looking for a land here. Lotus Field's good. Discontinuity is not super good. Move to my turn. It would be great if we could draw a land. We do not. Let's Impulse. Oh, that's not an Impulse. But actually, Leyline of the Void would be good to be bounced like this. We'll have to wait until we have more mana. We do find the Discontinuity, so that's what we'll keep. And I'm going to wait till next turn because I don't want to miss this ramp opportunity. Dice of St. Trapp. Oh, it's this deck. I see. They just had it in hand. Okay. Would have been cool if I could have discontinuity'd that. So, Lotus Field Discontinuity, I think, is the play. Alright. We're gonna have 5 mana when we untap, possibly 6. What are we going to do from here? We're going to hit for 6. They got flying, okay. Are they going to try to scam this? They can phase out their angels if they have the cards for that. That is sometimes a thing that this deck wants to do. Emergent Ultimatum, that's good. I can pour over the pages, get back 4 mana. And then maybe play the Balagid Recovery. We don't have a flying blocker, which is unfortunate. Maybe I just need to see some cards here with Pour Over the Pages. They could counterspell this. I know that this deck does play Spell Pierce. 1, 2. What are we discarding into exile? Maybe this Torrential Gearhulk. It's not good at the moment. And we do have Discontinuity for their turn. That will need to be held up this coming turn, so I need to play this Balagid Sanctuary. Then Vizier Tumbling Sand sets up Emergent Ultimatum for next turn. If this gets counterspelled, that's going to be really unfortunate. Okay, lucky. We're going to have to just take 7 here. And then use our mana. We're actually going to need to draw a land in order to Perilous Voyage. Yeah, we need exactly a land here. Could be any color, but we need exactly a land. That's not exactly a land. Okay, so how do we make this work? It's just going to have to be Emergent Ultimatum. And we're going to have to somehow bounce Leyline of the Void. So I could find Sublime Epiphany. I could also find Lier. I don't know if Chandra's the right pick right now. We have to make black. Untap this. I guess it will be an Emergent Ultimatum play. I can also discontinuity on their turn, actually. So if I discontinuity... Okay, wait. I can Perilous Voyage now. If I had not done that thing with Vizier of Tumbling Sands, I could have Perilous Voyaged the Leyline of the Void and then waited for them to cast it and then discontinuity before it came back in. Now I can't do that. I'm going to need to just cast Emergent Ultimatum here. We have to go for the gold. So Omniscience for sure. Lier doesn't really do anything. Chandra's a move. And then Pour is going to give us some of the mana that we need, which does need to happen. Let's see what they give us here. I would really love to have that Omniscience, but I think it's correct for them not to give me it. Yeah, because if they gave it to me, I have another Emergent Ultimatum. I can Sublime Epiphany away the Leyline, and we would just be absolutely chilling. So let's see what the choice is here. Omniscience is the one to go back, sure. Let's pour over the pages. What are we going to get? Balaged. Get to bring back our Lotus Field and Breeding Pool. Discard. Oh, I don't know. Maybe up the Beanstalk. Okay. Does Chandra need to make mana for me? She may. Thespian Sage could be the land. That may give me a Lotus Field. Balaged Recovery doesn't give me anything right now. Boseiju can kill the enchantment. I'll have 4 mana, 5 mana left over. 6/7 with Chandra. But it's not enough to discontinuity on their turn, is it? I can Sublime Epiphany. Okay, wait. I can Perilous Voyage away their Griff's Boon. Well, no, I actually don't have a way to get rid of it. Alright, we're going to exile the top 5. Just to pour over the pages, but that is fine. Okay. We do get to make a bunch of mana here, so we're going to hold full control. Resolve. Omniscience is there. Submit 2. Discarding 1 Boseiju. We want to float our mana. I don't want to make green, I want to make blue. And then let's make green with this. Resolve. 1, 2. Discard Breeding Pool. Just not enough. 3, 6. Oh wait, that's enough to play an Omniscience, right? Okay, cool. Now we're fine. Okay, so we're gonna go probably with Sublime Epiphany. Well, yeah, Sublime Epiphany. All right. So we need to return something back. We need to create a copy of Vizier. And then we will draw cards. So non-land permanent, that goes back to hand. Creature I control, target me. Okay, so this actually goes to my graveyard now. Here's a Torrential Gearhulk. And then we'll follow that up after with Emergent Ultimatum. Non-land permanent, that can go back to hand. Creature I control, target a player. Then we have Impulse. Let's take a look at Impulse first. Stifle, I think Discontinuity will give us the win here. We have 10-20. Yep, okay, cool. So that is it. We'll go ahead and, I guess, Emergent Ultimatum. We don't need to do that. It's fine. We'll just move to their turn. Okay. So let's go ahead and discard 1, 2. Discontinuity in their upkeep. Get the double discontinuity because why not? Alright, draw on my turn. And the Boseiju can just be a land now. Whoops. Oh, move to main. Boseiju can just be a land now. Now we can go ahead and -6. We'll just go 1. That's it.
No. This isn't happening.
Yeah, we're here. We might as well Emergent Ultimatum. I also should have done that before casting away Chandra, but it's fine. Discontinuity. Wait, no, not discontinuity. Sublime Epiphany. Pour over the pages, Balagate Recovery to get back our Chandra. Let them make the choice here, and then we show discontinuity for a kill. Alright, so even though they didn't give us Omniscience, we were able to use our mana advantage to get back. So Sublime Epiphany. 1, 2, 3, boom, boom. We're going to target, whoop, that doesn't go back to hand. No. 1, 2, and then they don't have any targetable permanents, so yeah, just choose like that. There we go. Then return our Chandra back. Here comes Chandra. Let's cast our Sublime Epiphany again. Boom, boom. Here comes Impulse. Pour over the pages is great. That gives us our mana. And let's go ahead and cast that Chandra. Chandra -5. Target them, attack in for 10, 11, 12. Alright, the combo lives. Let's go. So we beat Geist of Saint Traft combo. I've played this on the channel pretty recently, or it may or may not be coming out after this video. We will see. But, you know, this will be on the channel here in a little bit. Definitely a very strong deck. We got very lucky to dodge their turn 1 with the Leyline of the Void. And, I mean, they came within 1 turn of killing us, but we were able to make it work. Off of 1 Lotus Field is definitely not a common win pattern for this deck, so it was pretty cool to see that happen today. Had just barely enough. I actually did my math wrong. I thought I was going to be 1 off for the Omniscience, but it turns out with the land drop we were fine. Great round 3, couldn't have asked for that much more. Let's hop into round 4 and do it again. Round 4, here we go. So we got a discontinuity. We have a Thespian stage. And our Burial Grazer can help us start out a little bit of this. It's going to be awkward if we don't get another land, though. I think if we find the Lotus Field or find a way to look through our deck a bit more, this could be okay. Okay, it's a Stifle. Not totally what I'm asking for. Invasion of Ixalan. Okay, so they're using this to ramp. Not sure if this being a snow-covered forest would be relevant, but they're at least on Gruul. Could be 5-color, and I think a lot of times it will be 5-color. Oh, Cavern of Souls. We got creatures coming up. Okay. I wonder... I guess I'll Visitor of Tumbling Sands. And I have to pay a little bit of life here. We drew the Lotus Field like we did. Let's go. I was thinking ahead for this. Now we can Stifle. So we do actually get to have our acceleration. Sweet. Only cost us 2 life. So now with Vizier of Tumbling Sands, I do technically have discontinuity if I want to cast it. Oh, interesting. This is just dinosaurs. Okay, so I can just like straight up cast Lear here. I think I'm going to chill for a sec and just Vizier Tumbling Sands. Or do I want to do something different? Because I can I can Leer, I can copy with Thespian Sage, try to set something up. We'd like to just draw some cards here. Okay, so if I play the Grazer... No, I think I just want to copy with Thespian Stage. And let's go ahead and untap. Do I really want to do this? I guess I'm down, sure. We'll see what we cycle into. Emergent Ultimatum's a great thing to cycle into. Unfortunately, now we don't have the mana set up. Well, that's sure a bummer. Let's play a blocker. Okay, so if we draw either green or blue lands, we don't have any black, so any land will do it for us. We will be able to cast an ultimatum. And we'll have to find something other than Leer to be our spell. We can chump block that. We get a Torrential Gearhulk. What would I be casting out of the graveyard? A Stifle? I don't think so. So let's just discontinuity on their turn, get another draw. Well, they're going to get to cast something. I'll just essentially counterspell that. Now we get to shock. Now we get to do our Emergent Ultimatum. Sweet. Well, that was actually a huge mana swing, so that's great. So we'll get our Chandra here, and then we'll get Pour Over the Pages for some mana. They put back Omniscience, makes sense. This was done in the wrong order. I need to resolve these in an opposite order. Oh well. We'll untap Lotus Field. Discarding, what do we want to get rid of? Should it be Stifle or Discontinuity? Maybe it's neither and we just get rid of our Breeding Pool. Or maybe I want to shock that. I'll get rid of Stifle. Here is a Chandra. Chandra will -5, being them. Or actually, I'm going to plus her to draw the attack. I don't think she's going to get exiled. Make 2 black mana. I think I'll probably not use it for an ultimatum. We'll just cast Torrential Gearhulk. And Pour Over the Pages. Oh, it's yeah, right, that's instant only, whatever. Okay, it's fine. We're gonna, sure, we can Stifle, whatever. Reserve, we will decline. Okay, so then this will be cycle. Untapping Lotus Field. Another Lotus Field. And we cannot discontinuity right now, we'll just pass. I'm gonna have 6 mana next turn. More if we decide to discontinuity on our turn. Would have actually been good to keep the Stifle for this exact situation. They're gonna exile our graveyard, that's unfortunate. But we have not shown them Leer yet. They want to flip their Ixalan. I will block the thing that's coming at Chandra. Now I get to kill one of the Pugnacious Hammer Skulls. Wow, more Lotus Fields, crazy. We're going to -7 because she's not going to survive otherwise. We'll target this and the face. And what can we get out of the graveyard? Nothing amazing. Actually, nothing at all. We can discontinuity. Maybe, do I discontinuity to get another draw? So I can Lotus Field, sacking 1/2. We'll have 9 mana next turn. I keep Oh my gosh, I keep setting the stop wrong. So annoying. Oh, we'll let them cast something big again, hopefully. X1. I'm gonna discontinuity. I don't want to give them ramp. Alright, we're back to our turn. Thespian Sage is a thing that is not terrible. And we will just copy a Lotus Field. Pray that it's good enough. 12 mana. All we gotta do is draw a spell that we want to do things with. They have some acceleration of their own with Kiora. Okay. Pseudo-Vigilance. I am just neutrally blocking this. I'll take 6. And we have a 2-turn clock. Pseudo-Vigilance, you got it, and nice. That's our pour over the pages. Okay. This is exactly what we needed. Untap 1-2. Discard Lair of the Hydra. And we can go pour over the pages again, make some extra blue mana. Untap, untap. Discard a land. Well, let's get rid of the extra Lotus Field. We don't need another one of those. We go Emergent Ultimatum again. Omniscience. We want pour over the pages and Torrential Gearhulk. I want Gearhulk to resolve second, so we cast it first. Just pour over the pages. Boom, boom. Untap 1-2. Discard this. Torrential Gearhulk does not have anything in the graveyard because this is a sorcery. Yikes. We needed that Sublime Epiphany, which we can cast from the hand. So I think I will do this. We're going to go return something, copy and draw. We want to return the Hammer Skull. We want to target our Torrential Gearhulk and target ourselves. Alright. Let's get a Sublime Epiphany back. And okay, that's enough for them to say that they're out of there. Well, that was definitely not the cleanest game, but it was a win nonetheless. I think we made it there in the end, and I think all's well that ends well. Alright, round 4 is in the bag. We have one more to go. Hoping for a good one. Let's try to finish out strong. Alright, let's go. Final round. This is it. We have not the hand that we want to open with. Opponent has also mulliganed, so that feels good for us. We have Thespian Sage as well as Discontinuity. This could actually be really good if it comes down to us just finding that Lotus Petal. We'll keep the 6, but Chandra on the bottom, which is really a convenient place to have her. She'll just chill there until we want to search her out. And there's a Stifle too. Okay. Put this out. Discontinuity is a 6 mana spell, so that will trigger up the Beanstalk in case we just want to cycle that, essentially. Speaking of cycling, up the Beanstalk basically does that on its own, so that feels good. And our next draw would be really good if it was a Lotus Field. I'd love that so much. Instead, it's a Boseiju. We can Valaged Recovery here. That's something that we're happy to sacrifice eventually for a Lotus Field. We'll just say go. Opponent hasn't really done anything too crazy. If we can just get up to natural 6 mana, that's another way to get going, so that's okay. Ooh, Brass's Tunnel Grinder, very cool. When an ETBs, discard any number of cards and draw that many cards +1. If you descended, put a board counter. If there are 3 or more board counters, remove and transform. Got it. Unfortunately, the discard and then draw is one effect, so we can't stifle the draw portion. Okay, sure. And there's our Lotus Field. Okay, so let's just do a Lotus Field plus Stifle, or do we want to do Discontinuity? I think I want to hold on to Discontinuity for my opponent's turn. Okay, and we are still holding up a Boseiju. Let's see how scary this Brass's Tunnel Grinder is. Looking at Lotus Field, they cycle a Sheltered Thicket, okay. So this is doing its thing, and it is 3 or more counters, right? 3 or more war counters? Okay, I'm gonna probably just destroy this then. I'd rather have them ramping than have this thing flipped. It's just too much value. Alright, so it looks like we're playing a Discover deck, which can definitely be very scary. So we have 4 of the pages, or Torrential Gearhulk, or Discontinuity. It would actually be a pretty good move to play Discontinuity. I'll let them draw this. It would be good to play Discontinuity into Torrential Gearhulk. Passing to me. I'm just going to copy the Thespian Stage. Get our mana up. Impulse is great. That's another thing that can just be cast on their end step. So if they cast anything big, we're just going to use Discontinuity to essentially counterspell it, and then we can do it again the next turn with Torrential Gearhulk. They've got 7 mana. Wonder what they're waiting to do. We can actually go Impulse now. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, we can just cast an Omniscience. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is just something that this deck can do. Omniscience. Omniscience, draw a card, because why not? Okay, so 4 over the pages. Let's just see if we can kill him now. Otherwise, we just Discontinuity them 2 times on their turn, and then Torrential Gearhulk again, then after that Sublime Epiphany. Oh my gosh, that's just too brutal. Okay, well, nothing like an absolute curb stomping of a round 5 to end things out. I think that was definitely the tightest and best game that I played so far. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, comment on the video, helps me out a bunch. And make sure, if you are new here, to check out the channel. We have a lot of videos on here now, and you can subscribe for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Stick around, and I'll be happy to show you through all this historic stuff and some of the new Eternal formats coming to Arena. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next one.